Hi, Shantarl Medium here. This is another lovely medium message that I just wanted to share with you. As much as I love to have the messages through that are funny, and really most of them are, because it's the spirit that's channeling through, they generally are quite funny, or who they were before they passed. There is this clearly the sad side too, and I do get quite a few of those, particularly, if I'm on the telephone doing readings. I am so busy channeling the information and the message across that it goes really quiet on the end of the phone, and I realise that that person that I have, them giving the message to, is then in tears. So I want to be able to share these messages, but with both sides. I wouldn't want to offend anyone that is really struggling with the one that's passed over, but as well as there is always an upside, and the upside for me is that they are always there. So I want to share with you a message that I was doing a reading for my friend, so I'd invited her over, and we're in the living room and we're having a chat and a catch up, and it was clear that she wanted her granddad through, and I'd never met her granddad, but I'd heard lots of things about him. Thankfully he did come through, and it was great. I could describe him and his personality even though I hadn't met him, but she acknowledged, and there was personal things that he validated, health issues that came up that was great to be able to validate. And there was a particular book. Now when spirit keep over the same message, it's very, very important. So there was this particular book, and for me, he was sitting down, he was in his favourite chair, and so his armchair, and he's looking and he's showing me this blue book. Now it wasn't like it wasn't like a reading book. It just seemed to be hardbacked, really thick, and I kept explaining that, and she's like, yes, I kind of think, and it does obviously make people think constantly about when they're getting a message through, what on earth I'm trying to communicate with them, and what spirit's channeling really the message through. So that was all really interesting, and thankfully, because I keep going on, and her granddad would not let it go until I completely nailed this book. So we did spend probably about 5-10 minutes going through. I said, mate, she said, well, what kind of book is it? And I said, it's more like an encyclopedia, it's not like a reading book, it's more. And she said, would it be something kind of a journal? And I said, yeah. I said, it's thick. I said, it's an old book, and like the old books that have got, it's proper hardback, but the actual hardback itself was that, it was rough, like the rough old hardbacks were, and it was blue. And she went, yep. She said, I know now what that is. She said it was his medical journey, and as soon as she'd said it was his medical journal, not his, but his medical journal book that he actually had. It was one of those things that was always there, and was always a part of him, that, you don't, it's almost like the two go together, but you just miss it because it's obvious. And then she said it's a definitely, but as soon as she said medical journal, I could move on, and I went, mate, that's exactly the medical journal, that is it. And then we talked about his slippers, what kind of slippers he had. He had a walking stick, and then he was showing me, I said, why am I getting a garden shed? She said, oh, that was his special place, which was amazing. I knew that they lived by the sea, but not overlooking the sea. So I just said to her at one point, why am I getting the sea, and I'm getting the white waves of the sea? And I said, and I can see flowers down the sea. And I was sort of giving like you know, like you'd throw grain kind of action. And I said, why am I doing this? And at this point I'm so enrolled in the message and channeling and you know, saying what is shown to me, I've forgotten that my gorgeous friend is sat there just completely in tears. Which you know, it is upsetting. It is our past ones. My father's past, I totally understand that. And I said, why? And she said, well, I purposely didn't tell you, but we scattered his ashes down on Bournemouth Beach. And she said, and I didn't want to tell you. She said, and that is what he's showing you. That's why it makes complete sense. And it was just such an emotional time. But as much as it is an emotional time, it validates that they're there, and also it just gives the greatest of comfort. Now, yes, she's in tears. As a medium, you know, you have to keep your emotions out of it, and if anybody knows me really well, I'm highly emotional. So this is my friend in tears, but after, it was so lovely to be able to talk to her about it, and that, honestly, she was completely changed. That completely uplifted her to know that he is there, something so personal and something that I would have never have known. That was just the biggest confirmation that she needed in her life at that time, and she needed, which I just think's wonderful. So I don't take being medium lightly, and it is personal, but what I always know, and I want everybody to trust me on that they are there, that they do share your life with you. And yes, they've crossed over, and we ask many questions of why, which, you know, there are many answers, but they are always with us. Until next week with another message. Hope you've enjoyed that one.